This video is on how to plan and say those sources that you want to quote or paraphrase or summarize and put that on your outline plan. Why do we need to cite sources in your researched speeches and even in your other communication, like when you're talking to somebody? Why do we want to back it up with what someone else says or shows? Let's preview this video. First, I'm going to give you a reminder about why we're citing. I'm going to compare academic writing, like your papers that are MLA and APA, will then show you how you plan to say those sources smoothly, and you write that down and highlight it on your outline form, and then just have a slide on ways students have said that they might remember to say each of their sources. Aristotle is the foundation of rhetoric. This book was written with a lot of his content that apparently he's taught his students. And he said that all ways to appeal to the audience have elements of persuasion in them, but we want to grab hearts and minds. We want to get ethos so that they believe we are trustworthy, that we have strong character, we're believable. So we want to appeal and use support that grabs emotions and imagination. And we want to do this one students often go to first for their academic writing and even in their speeches until they're told, hey, you need the other guys too. Logos is the third appeal. We are using logic, evidence, and consistency. So we want to use our cites to elevate and get the ethos going and some strong logos, right? Personal knowledge and experience plus these outside sources. Somebody else says so too. Or this actually gives evidence that supports it when I share their quote. It'll increase the credibility of your speech, the believability. It'll improve the accuracy of what you say. We sometimes have these vague ideas, but we want to say, here's some support that I'm quoting that will show you this is accurate. It'll give us that appearance of competency, and it'll sound more professional. You'll feel like you've got more ethos. Finally, it's going to give you, your listeners or your online audiences, your viewers, sources that they can seek out as well. Academic writing uses parentheses, and parentheticals are not for our speech outlines. We won't use them for what author said something. In your academic writing, you're going to have two places. So these are your other academic papers, although some people have put some parentheticals in their TED Talk or interpersonal skills paper. And we'll use parentheses in our final written self-evaluation, but I call it MLA-ish. We'll talk more about it because it's non-retrievable sources. In your MLA format, you're going to have two different kinds of citations on your academic papers. You're going to have an in-text citation, the parentheses with the author's last name, and you're going to have a works cited page where there's a certain format you must follow. There is a 15-minute computer lab day video on using one app, CiteFast, to make the shape right, and you can use the librarians and learning center tutors or other bibliographical apps to make that format right. Do get a second set of editing eyes on your works cited. In COM, that takes off a lot of points on your outline if the shape's not right. In a real academic paper, you are going to use a quote, a summary, a paraphrase, a chart, something like that. And they might have an author and a page number, or they might just have the organization that put that out. You're going to need to have the internal citation with the parentheses, the works cited or reference page for American Psychological Association's format. Guys, MLA is for most people's undergraduate work. Some institutions use something different. APA is often used in science and psychology, graduate work, and I understand Roane State education classes may use APA as well, whatever your teacher wants. Here is a simple example of an internal citation on a written paper. It is reported that blah, 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 and it has the author and the page. And you need to check with your teachers if they want that comma in there or not. The MLA works cited from Scribner, these are Google images, that shows that you've got a certain heading. It's got to be a certain font. MLA actually allows 3 fonts now, but all papers used to be Times New Roman only, size 12. And that's what I tend to make all our papers because of that. It continues to be an MLA standard, but not every teacher will take that. You decide. You hear from your instructor. So this is alphabetically ordered. It starts at the top of its own page. Every first line is on the left. We call that left justified. And then you've got indents where it scooches in secondary or tertiary lines. That's academic writing. I actually had a student use a sentence that needed formal MLA for their TED Talk paper. Now, let's get back to outlines. How do you plan out on your outline the way you're going to say the citations? Not doing the parentheses. We are going to say, you'll add the fact, the quote, the summary, or the paraphrase on your outline, like in a sentence. Many students start with, or if they feel uncomfortable with it and they haven't figured it out yet, they'll say their sentence from the other source, and then they'll say, and I found this source at. And there's a lot better ways to do it. So let's look at those. Here's our teaching method to you guys. Find the name of the source, the organization, the author, the speaker, and who they are. What's their authority? Why should we believe that name or that source or that organization? You get the source. Then you find the quote, the summary, the paraphrase, the chart, whatever you want to actually cite and talk about. And you can either use according to, or you can connect the source and the fact with a strong verb. We have a sheet called How to Say Cites, and it's the Cuddy sheet, and it gives you lots of different examples and a whole list of verbs from a 2017 adaptation of Rhone State's library list of verbs. Remember, although the Cuddy sheet says you can say the source at the beginning of the sentence where you've written it down on your outline, at the middle of the sentence, or at the end, some more recent research indicates that if you say the source first, it helps your listeners. It reduces their cognitive load. So let's look at some ways we can actually show the authority of the source in our words said to our audience. These are actual student, or one of them's my example on saying the source name but adding the authority in there. The Tennessee region of the Red Cross, who serves 6.6 million people in all 95 Tennessee counties, says or shows, right? Or Peggy at Brick House Fitness Campus in Crossville, a competitive weightlifter and ASF certified personal trainer, reports blah blah, says that. Dr. Alex Lyon, an influencer called Communication Coach, whose mission is to, and he goes on, you can always look for organizations' mission and value statements. Any larger organization has one. You know, many of the school boards, they establish what are their values or what's their mission. Check that out. Public's official website shows, right? So you would go ahead and put the word official in there because anybody can create a website. And you probably would not do 5 different pages from the Walmart website or something. That's one of your sources, right? You can see the other ones. Stop the video if you want to look at the last ones. Add the authority. You can look at your informative, demo, and persuasive exemplars. They're student examples for every one of our types of expository speeches. And look where they've yellow highlighted how they plan to say their cite. So let's finally look at the ways some students say they've remembered to say their citations when they're doing their speech. You've got the yellow highlights on the outline, and research indicates that the yellow highlights will help speakers remember to say it. You could even use a teleprompter or poster behind your device. You can use cue cards. Some people actually yellow highlight on their cue cards the exact way they plan to say their sources and their planned citation. And the biggest tip is just to practice, guys. Practice, 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 as Duarte says.